So it looks like we're moving on to our second round. We got Fox playing against Alex. Alex normally in here with me, but could not resist the allure of Pauper. Again, one of the more popular formats here at Other Realms. We definitely try to keep it in the rotation. So Fox playing a blue-red Delver deck against Alex on Dimir Control. We're going to see Snapcasters on both sides of the board. Snapcaster Mage. Fox, I kind of think we might see a little bit of a Kiln Fiend. So possibly not as devoted as an Izzet Blitz. But I would not be surprised to see some instant speed combat tricks trying to pump his creatures. Alex, we got Dimir Control. We're going to see a lot of black kill spells, blue card draw. Guarantee we'll see a Gurmag Angler. And Delver of Secrets most likely will be in there as well. So let's see what we got going on. You at home, please feel free to comment along with the game. Like I said, my buddy Alex not in here in the booth with me. So the more you guys talk, the less I have to keep this thing going. And it's always nicer when I'm able to interact with somebody else, especially you guys at home. So it looks like Agony Warp in the back, Brainstorm, Evolving Wilds, Island. I'm not sure. I believe that was a Delve creature at the back of his hand. Then on Fox's side, we have Brainstorm, Accumulated Knowledge, Lightning Bolt, Vapor Snag, Unsummon, Halimar Depths, Evolving Wilds. So 2 card draw at the back, Lightning Bolt, and some control elements, some bounce elements. Alex's turn. He's leading with the Island. We will most likely see the Evolving Wilds here. Nope, Halimar Depths. He's going to look at his top 3 or 4 cards of his deck. Looks like top 3. And the fact that he has his Evolving Wilds means that he really only needs to worry about the top card. If the other cards aren't good, he can always get rid of them with Evolving Wilds next turn. Yeah, no black mana. Brainstorm is a great way to filter and find the stuff you need. So, not too bad for Alex. Now, both these decks, their blue element's going to be doing a lot of control, a lot of card draw. The red element for Fox is going to be where he's getting all his damage, aside from the Delver of Secrets. And then for Alex, I would expect his big fat creatures are all going to be the black ones. Delver of Secrets is going to sneak in a few points if he's lucky. So he's resolving his Brainstorm on Fox's end step. And then going to Alex's second turn. Drew an Agony Warp. Played Evolving Wilds. Like he said, no black mana yet. He's got multiple black cards, so he's going to probably sack that on Fox's end step. Second Accumulated Knowledge. That's 2 mana draw a card, but then you also draw an additional card for each other copy of Accumulated Knowledge in your in all graveyards. So the first one is 2 mana for 1 card, but then for each additional one that's in the graveyard, he gets to get an extra card. So having up to 4 of those in his deck. Usually if you're going to run 1, you'll run all 4 so that you get the max value out of them. Brainstorm, though, just costs 1. He got to draw 3 cards, put any 2 from his hand back on top of the library, and now Evolving Wilds lets him shuffle those 2 cards that he didn't want in his hand down somewhere into the library and get 2 fresh cards on top. Alright, so we got Alex with another Brainstorm on Fox's end step. For those of you at home, that's 3 Brainstorms in a row. And if I can get them to slide their graveyards out, that's 3 different art Brainstorms in a row. So, Pauper, another, as I said earlier, a format that's been around. You can play any card throughout most of history as long as it's ever been printed as a common. Which leads to a not so great time trying to figure out what's getting played. But that's 3 Brainstorms, 3 different art. 2 for Alex, 1 for Fox. And we have in the card view from Jake that's a 4th edition of Brainstorm. So Brainstorm originally printed in Ice Age. It's banned in most formats, legal in Pauper. Thank you, Jake. There's another print. We've already seen that addition in Fox's graveyard, though, but not with the white border. There's a mental note. That's the version that's in... No, that's not the version of Fox's graveyard. He's got the Cold Snap version in his graveyard, which is that version, but with a different border because it was printed in the Cold Snap intro deck. So mental note, allowing Alex to draw more cards, also putting more cards in his graveyard. That being key because he's got multiple delve creatures which want cards in graveyard, such as a Gurmag Angler, which I knew we were going to see from Alex. So Gurmag Angler, if you'll pull that one up, Jake. We also have a Delver of Secrets being played by Alex. So went from no board presence at all. Now he's got 2 creatures on the board. One that will hopefully for him flip into a 3/2 creature with flying next turn. The other a giant 5/5 zombie fish. Okay, so we are definitely seeing some elements of Is It Blitz over there. There's our Nivix Cyclops. It's a 0/4 defender creature, but it gets +3/+0 every time Fox plays an instant or sorcery. It also loses defender for that turn. Okay, it looks like Alex responded with, I believe, a daze. It's the alright, Jake confirming that is a daze. Alex trying to keep me on my toes here. We did get the flip off a Thought Scour being revealed. So this board right now very much in Alex's favor. And there's a swing for 8. Alex's deck taking care of business very quickly, it seems, once he's able to flip and cast his creatures onto the board. Fox did have some bounce spells in his hand. Unsummon on the Delver of Secrets, not bad. Also on the Gurmag Angler, there's only 1 card in Alex's graveyard right now, so he will not be able to delve it back in next turn. So mental note, he has to discard 2 cards, or mill 2 cards from his library, and then he gets to draw. And there's the Thought Scour, which is going to put 2 cards from a player's library into the graveyard. He's going to target himself, again trying to fuel his delve cards. And then he also gets to draw again. So very similar to mental note. Okay, so Alex has 2 counterspells in his hand. I can't remember the name. He returns a land to his hand. The art looks like somebody just bit into a Smurf. But I don't remember the name of them exactly. So Fox trying to Vapor Snag the Gurmag Angler. Gets countered. Fox responding with the Dispel to counter the counter. And that's a blue match for you, folks. So Vapor Snag resolves. Alex returns the Gurmag Angler to his hand, takes 1 damage from the Vapor Snag, and recasts the Gurmag Angler. So he went from having 1 card in his graveyard at the end of his last turn to having enough cards in the graveyard this turn to delve out the Angler again. And that right there just shows you the strength of the Thought Scours, the mental notes, and all the other ways that Alex has to fill his graveyard in that deck. The Delve cards, extremely expensive. Well, not extremely, but overpriced for their abilities. But because you're able to pay an alternate way to get them into play, very efficient creatures. Alex just essentially paid 1 mana to get a 5/5 creature on the board. So now I have Fox playing his own copy of the Delver of Secrets. Alex responding with the Brainstorm to try and dig to see what he can find. That looks like a Diabolic Edict at the front. An old school counterspell in the hand. And I could not see the rest of it. But the Delver does stick. there's an Agony Warp. 1 blue, 1 black. Target creature gets -3, -0. Target creature gets -0, -3. So you can divvy that up as you want, or you can put them both on the same creature. Looks like an attack for 5. Fox choosing to take the damage. Hoping to be able to flip his Delver on his upkeep. Believe that would be the Cerulean Wisps. No, that's Ancestral Recall, I'm sorry. Ancestral Recall, so he draws 1 card off it. So now his next Ancestral Recall will draw him 2 cards. Here's the Delver trigger. Does not flip. So that's Swiftwater Cliff, I believe. It enters the battlefield tapped and he gains 1 life. Looks like he's eyeing that Kiln Fiend in his hand. Swiftwater Cliffs. See, I know some of the cards. I don't know all the cards, but I know some of them. So Kiln Fiend entering the battlefield. Alex does have counter magic in hand, and that's one of those creatures you want to have answers for it quickly. So you're showing me the cards I know, Jake. What is that blue counterspell eating the Smurf? I can never remember the name of it. It's from World Wake. So we've got a Delver of Secrets. We got a counterspell. The blue counterspell eating the Smurf. Island and Diabolic Edict are Alex's hand. Diabolic Edict is a clean answer for the Delver of Secrets. And he has the 2 counterspells in hand for whatever Fox is trying to do. So second accumulating knowledge would have drawn him 2 cards. Alex able to counter the spell cleanly. You guys watching at home, since Jake is not helping me here, what is the name of the blue card with the guy eating the Smurf? Well, you're sitting right there, Jake. He's telling me he doesn't know. It's in the graveyard. So, alright, so now Alex taking it out because I want to know the name of this card. It's okay, Jake. You don't need to apologize. Just do it, darn it. Deprive. I couldn't remember during the last Pauper either. Alex had to remind me. Tell me that does not look like somebody eating a Smurf. Like the Smurf just blew up in their hands. That's what I think of every time I see that card. So it looks like Alex was able to close the game out. Yeah. Fox just was never able to get out of the defensive mode and get into the driver's seat. He had a few windows to get the creature out, but Alex always had an answer in hand. So, and once the Delver got stuck on the board the second time, that was it. A giant 5/5 when you can't get anything on the board to deal with it, not going to take long to close out the game. So going into sideboarding, are you keeping a brainstorm counter for us, Jake? Brainstorm counter on the screen. We're up to 5. Can we also get a counter for... Well, I guess the counter for the types of art is irrelevant right now, but we're also at 3 versions of Brainstorm. So, Brainstorm, a card that you're going to see a lot of in any format where it is legal. It being printed as a common means that it is legal in Pauper, and you are going to see it. So, Brainstorm, draw 3 cards again. I do appreciate the deprive. Thank you very much, Jake. We're just going to leave the Brainstorm counter up there for the rest of the match because it's going to go up. So there's another look at Brainstorm. This is the new Jace's Spellbook version, which if your local game store is a good one like ours, you should be able to buy it from their counter at MSRP. So very, very nice card. Very effective. There's another version. Put it in 25th edition. They've printed Brainstorm quite a few times. Only formats where it is legal: Legacy, Pauper, Commander. So not legal in Modern, not legal. It's restricted in Vintage. So only 1 copy in Vintage. So is it the most powerful common in Magic the Gathering and should it be banned? Ooh. That's a question for Alex. I'm more the guy that just talks randomly about stuff. If you're asking for advice, I don't know if you want to ask me. Is it the most powerful common in Magic the Gathering? Well, let's see what it does. It draws you 3 fresh cards. It gets rid of 2 cards in your hand that you don't want there. If you have a way to shuffle your deck, which if you're running Brainstorm, that's usually a good idea to keep Evolving Wilds or something in there that will shuffle your deck. So draw 3, get rid of 2 that you don't want. Does seem pretty strong. Does it need to be banned? You have to tap islands to play it. I think you're better off just tapping or banning islands. Let's just ban all the islands, and then people can actually play Magic. That's my answer to that. I don't think Brainstorm needs to be banned. I think we need to ban all the islands. Hashtag ban the islands. That's what I'm going for. I was going to say I like Rancor as one of the more powerful commons, but you need tools for Rancor to work. Brainstorm just does this thing all by itself. It is definitely one of the most powerful. I don't know if it would be called the most, but it's up there. Just because I can't think of anything that's more powerful doesn't mean that there isn't. I do love playing my Psychic Venom. If only this were legal in 93-94, then I might actually beat Alex. I'm 0-6 against him in 93-94. I think I might need to start a new deck. Because that mono black 93-94 is tearing me up. There are a lot of ways to shuffle in Pauper. And that's one of the things about Pauper. It's tons of cards. You can do all sorts of stuff. We watched round 1, the Heroic deck. Those cards have been around for years. It just took somebody putting them together and finding out that it actually works well. So there's a lot of room available in Pauper to brew your own decks, to find combinations that are out there. Yeah, there's tons of tools in Pauper. And finding a way to shuffle is not that hard at all. Not hard at all. Alright, so it looks like Alex is done shuffling, just waiting on Fox to finish up now. Fox, one of our players that comes here pretty often. He is selective, though. He only comes if we're doing something good. So, Pauper Night, he's always here. But he has his preferred formats, which is, it's all good. So, good to see Fox here. Hopefully he's doing well. I'm assuming he won the first round. Hopefully he does not get run over again by a zombie fish. And we get to see a little bit of that is it blitz element of his deck this game. So Brainstorm counter at 5. If I were sitting at home, I might be doing a drinking challenge with Brainstorms this round. But I'm not. I'm here. So I'll be drinking my Pepsi every Brainstorm. So we're at 5. And I'm getting joined by a guest now because it's getting tough in here by myself. Tom, aloha.
Hello.
How you doing tonight?
So, I'm good.
Did you start out trying to play tonight?
I ended up being late because of traffic, so.
But
now I get to be a movie star.
It's more fun in here. You always win. All right, so I'm being joined by Tom in the booth. Thank you very much for coming in.
No problem.
We're watching Alex and Fox right now. Fox is on a blue-red Delver deck. He just got run over by a big 5/5 zombie fish last round. Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's got his Nivix Cyclops, Kiln Fiend, and Delver. So he's got his 3 attack spells and 4 lands. That seems like a decent hand. Not a lot of interaction, but he's got the threats. Alex's deck is full of answers and control elements. Mm-hmm. So right now I'm seeing 2 lands.
I think I saw Thought Scour.
Well, there's a Mental Note, Thought Scour. Mental Note and Thought Scour play very similar. Thank you for holding it so steady for us, Alex. Counterspell, Gurmag Angler. Of course he's got 2.
Yeah.
Of course. No Brainstorms. I'm doing a Brainstorm counter. I can only drink Pepsi.
Oh.
but in game 1 we had 5. 3 of them in a row. So, very powerful spell. Both decks are running it. We'll likely see a few of them this game as well. So, turn 1, Delver Secrets. Was watching them play before the tournament. Fox was playing against Byron, one of our other players here, and he had his Delver of Secrets out. Did not flip for 5 turns in a row.
Wow.
It just did not want to do what it does. It worked this time though, and he's getting in for 3. So if you had made it on time, Tom, what were you going to play?
Well, I accidentally gave away half of 2 different decks, a burn deck and a goblin deck. So I was gonna just play. I wasn't gonna try to win. I was gonna shuffle them together and try to win. But yeah, I didn't. I didn't have anything completed for today. But.
Well, I'm glad you got here late because now you can just sit in here and keep me company, and it's always easier. All right, so that's a brainstorm in the graveyard, but it got put there by mental note. So that doesn't count. All right, there's a Stormbound Geist, I believe. It's a 2/1 Undying Flyer. It's in the graveyard, though, so it doesn't really matter because it's just going to be eaten by the fish. Gurmag Angler stabilizes the board very quickly. It's a tough 5/5 creature, a tough creature to deal with. Now, game 1, we saw Fox had several bounce spells. He had Unsummon, and he had a Vapor Snag. So he has ways to get that Angler off the board. And now that he has his Kiln Fiend, he has a slip through space, I believe it's called, which makes it unblockable and +1/+0. Okay, so he's playing the slip through something.
I think it is slip through space.
Is it? I'm hoping, because I've been guessing on a few of these. Calling the card the Smurfberry one doesn't seem to work. So that is now a slip through space.
Right.
Thank you for confirming. So Kiln Fiend gets +3/+0, so it's now a 4. Slip through space makes it unblockable, and he drew a card. So there's Halimar Depths, which is going to let him set the top 3 cards of his deck. I believe that was a Brainstorm on top. Now, one of the issues with Halimar Depths, you only get to look. You can't get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, Evolving Wild is very strong with it because you can get rid of stuff if you don't want it. So there's a Lightning Bolt, which is going to trigger the Kiln Fiend again for another +3. So that's now a total of 12 damage coming through. 3 from the Delver, 3 from the Bolt. No, I'm sorry, 13. 7 from the Kiln Fiend.
And I believe that, and the Fiend is unblockable, right?
It's unblockable thanks to the slip through space. So that's a Daze. Alex likes to keep me on my toes. Mm-hmm. So the Daze will stop the 3 damage from the Bolt. It still gets the trigger on the Kiln Fiend, though, so that's still 10 damage. So Fox saying to Alex, all right, you might have a fish, but let me show you what I can do here. So, all right, and because Fox has 2 creatures, he's relatively safe from the Diabolic Edict. Diabolic Edict, thank you for playing the no text version, Alex. That helps a lot. Mm-hmm. Diabolic Edict, target player sacrifices a creature. Okay. So he can force Fox to get rid of one of them, but when you have 2 creatures, you're able to pick the better of the 2 to keep. Thank you, Jake, for bringing up a version with text. Alright, so I think we're about to plus the counter. Jake's finding all the versions with text. Jake is going drunk with power. Okay, this would be an unsummon. This is one of the more recent printings. I believe that would be like M14 or something like that. So it bounces the Gurmag Angler, clearing the way. Also triggers the Kiln Fiend for a +3. So that's an attack for 7, which should be lethal if I'm doing my math right.
Well.
Okay, Diabolic Edict, instant speed. Being met with a Brainstorm to pump another trigger on the Kiln Fiend. So he's allowing the Edict to resolve through that, but Kiln Fiend being the creature it is.
Yeah, just bigger.
Yep. Just keep feeding it. That does count for our Brainstorm counter. I gotta chug.
Enjoy your Pepsi.
It could be so much more. All right, so we're up to 6. That was a very disappointing brainstorm match.
Yeah.
Or game, rather. The first game was much more impressive. You missed it, though.
Actually, I was sitting right behind them. So
Oh.
I couldn't see it as well as I can now, but I was there. I experienced it.
You had the front row seat. So, I'm not sure how much Alex is going to push for control as far as counter spells or control as far as creature removal in this match. Both seem relevant, but I don't know. And I've watched him looking through the sideboard. I could see more pieces of both to bring in. Because it seems to me you have to answer the Kiln Fiend when he's trying to cast it if you're going the control route. Whereas if you're going the counterspell route. Whereas the black creature kill seems the more reliable. You can cast it, but I can kill it, whenever.
Right.
And Fox's deck, if you keep the board clear of Kiln Fiends and Cyclopses, it's going to take him long enough to kill you with the Delver and the Lightning Bolts that you should be able to kill him before he kills you. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't quite call that a hot take.
Are we allowed to call it a hot take when Alex is playing on the table?
I don't think so. That's the thing. It feels weird.
What if we pay him a quarter for licensing?
I had Mark and Ernest in here after round 1, and we were talking about Good Bear, Bad Bears. And that felt weird. So, I don't know.
I think last night during my seal deck, I think I played one Bad Bear, and I think I considered 3 more.
In sealed, the bears have different values.
Yeah.
Some bad bears become great bears.
Yeah.
Some become okay bears. And you got to play what you got to play in sealed. Now, we did see you last night, first round. You were playing against Joe.
Right.
And he had the Palladium Wars.
That was, I thought I was in pretty good shape until I saw that. I was like, well, I literally have 2 cards in this deck. I could do anything. Hopefully I can find them before the time runs out. Newsflash, I didn't.
No, you didn't. It was close, though.
Yeah.
It was close. And then Game 2 was a very good back and forth game.
Right. So, Great. Game 2 was definitely
Game 2 looked very good.
I think Game 2 I had a lot more information than he did, though. Well, I saw a lot more of his... I saw his bombs. He didn't...
Yeah, Game 1, you saw the surprises he had. And you could... Actually, Game 1 ended. You had stuff in hand you could have played.
Right.
But at that point, it's I don't want you to know about it.
Yeah.
So, which is interesting. We had Matt in here, and we were able to explain to him why. He's like, well, why wouldn't you play this? And I'm like, well, at this point, you gain nothing.
Yeah.
The game's already over. You're just trying to see as much of your opponent's deck as you can to figure out what you need to prepare for. So, and then that showed in Game 2 where you were able to keep up with Joe's threats much better. Joe also had a harder time finding his threats.
I know.
But
Jake was upset with me because I confused them. Because I was like, well, in a 3-match, kind of tournament, I guess, if you want to call it that, if either one of us goes 1-1, neither one of us has a chance. So I conceded, so at least Joe would have the chance.
We were a little confused.
Yeah.
Because you guys ran into time in Game 2.
Yeah.
And at that point, it looked like you were ahead in that game.
Yeah.
But that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Well, I showed him the win, and then I conceded.
Yeah. Also, Joe would have been on the play in Game 3, and his deck seemed to look like it would do very well on the play.
Right.
But that's good sportsmanship, and we appreciate it. And that's one of the things I like most about this place.
Yeah.
So come on down to Other Realms. Everybody's here. We're just trying to have a good time. And if you're new to the game, come on down. We'll teach you. We got a guy in there right now. He's just visiting the islands. Just started playing at the pre-release, so we're trying to help him out and get him through this Pauper night. So looking at Alex's hand, we got 1 land. 2 lands, I'm sorry. That's a Lonely Sandbar at the front. No black mana. He does have a mental note. That's a Arena counterspell behind the mental note. Diabolic Edict and Ghastly Demise. And then the last card looked like a Deprive, which would be the Smurfberry card. So again, I believe both the other games, Alex's hand has not had black mana sources. He's just had to dig into it with the blue. So now we're looking at Fox's hand. We have a Thermo Alchemist. I don't remember the rest of the Thermo part, but then we have a Nivik Cyclops, a Faithless Looting, Portent, and 2 islands. Portent plays very similarly to Brainstorm.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite the same, but similar effect. So that's going to let him dig to hopefully find an island. And then he also drew a Accumulated Knowledge, which is another card draw spell. So there's Alex taking a look at Portent. That would be the Ice Age art, but I've got a feeling that's the Cold Snap print. I don't know. So we've got a Delver of Secrets, Island, and looks like Prohibit. So threat, land, counterspell. So there's a Brainstorm in the graveyard along with the Mental Knot.
Pepsi time.
No, it went straight to the graveyard. Yeah. I don't have to drink anything. I'm conserving. I got a whole other round after this one. So he drew a Daze. And that's actually the version we can tell what it is, not the Amonkhet Masterpiece. Mm-hmm. There's a look at Portent. That would actually be the 5th edition.
I don't know what the other one looks like, but if were I to play Portent, I would want that art.
That's beautiful art. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful.
Thanks, Jacob. We'll go with the black border. It's more slimy.
There we go. All right, so there we have Delver of Secrets. Again, the way he stacked the deck, I believe the next card is a land. Because he got to look at the cards with Portent. I believe... Oh, no, because he drew a card at the next turn. So the next card should be the Prohibit, which will flip Delver of Secrets. One of the nice things about playing cards like Portent and Brainstorm and Halimar Depths when you're running Delver of Secrets, you can kind of cheat the flip mode a little bit. So there's an Evolving Wilds, which is great with Brainstorm effects. Looks like a Bajuka Bog was played last turn to get rid of the Portent. Diabolic Edict is going to make Fox sacrifice the Delver. And that's last game we were talking. He had the Delver of Secrets and the Kiln Fiend.
Yeah, so you could choose the better of the two.
Diabolic Edict, a great card when your opponent only has one creature. So Alex fetching out a basic island. He's got the Bog for his black mana, and really he doesn't need a lot of black mana. All of his spells are only 1 black. The Gurmag Angler, 1 black, and cards out of graveyard. So the rest of his deck is blue. Counterspell is double mana, deprive double blue. So blue is definitely the one he needs the most of. Speaking of, there's the counterspell and the deprive, as well as Daze. So he's got 3 counterspells, a kill spell, and a land. Fox accumulating some more knowledge. So this game playing out
very differently.
Yeah, pretty different from games 1 and 2. Both those games we had threats on the board by now. Alright, there's a Dismal Backwaters to gain 1 life.
Actually didn't catch what Alex sided in, which way he ended up going with it.
No, we didn't really see. Yeah. And I'm seeing it looks like he's leaning mostly on counters right now based on what's in his hand. That's 4 counter spells and a kill spell. So Fox luckily drawing a Swiftwater Cliffs to get his red mana. He did draw a Lightning Bolt last turn. You know one of the things I'm liking most about this Pauper tournament tonight? I haven't seen any core 2019 commons yet, and I'm still learning the names for those. So these are all cards I at some point knew the names for. So I actually feel a little more comfortable trying to figure out what these cards are right now. So that's a Nivik Cyclops, very similar to the Kiln Fiend. When Fox casts an instant or sorcery, it gets +3/+0. Normally it's a 0/4 defender, but it gets +3/+0 and loses defender and able to attack.
In Ravnica, but I think it's a uncommon. There's a flyer that does pretty much the same thing, right? I think it's uncommon.
I'm thinking of Timur and Lubia. Or I'm sorry, this is a 1/4, so, but it's still +3/+0 loses defender. No, that's not what that is. They've done it a few times. Being Pauper, the ones you're looking for are the Kiln Fiend and the Nivik Cyclops. Now you're asking me about a much bigger pool, Tom.
Yeah. Sorry.
And I'm all hopped up on Pepsi now from all these brainstorms. You're making it difficult here. So we're having a classic counter war. Started off with the Deprive, followed by a Prohibit, followed by a Counterspell, followed by Dispel. So they resolve last in, first out. So actually Ben, our table judge, putting in an order. So Alex really trying to stop this Kiln Fiend from hitting the board.
And it doesn't look like he did it.
No, right now Fox is on top. And all of these are triggering the Nivik Cyclops. I'm hoping he did this before combat. Alright. Fox tapped out, Alex using his Dispel. Now that's 2 triggers on the Cyclops, so it's a 7 power creature right now. And that was pre-combat, and here comes a swing for 7. Ghastly Demise has a threshold trigger. I believe it's a 1 black mana, and it's minus something to the creature. However, if Alex has threshold, it's 1 black, destroy target creature. And threshold being 7 cards in his graveyard. So now Jake adding a counter Chain Force. I think it's a bit late for that, because now both their hands are empty of counter spells. Alex still has a couple more, but I don't think we're going to get an epic counter battle like that again. Those come once in a lifetime, Jake, and you missed it.
That was about as deep as it goes, too.
Oh, they were both fully committed on that one. Now, in Modern, where you have Snapcaster Mages and you have better ways to fill your hand, yeah, we might be in for a second one. But I think that might be it for now. So there's a Delver, followed by the Thermo Alchemist.
Yeah, those are... I believe that's from Shadows.
Eldritch Moon.
Eldritch Moon.
Thermo Alchemist tap, deal 1 damage to each opponent.
It untaps when you cast a spell.
Instants or sorceries, yep. So pretty good way to shotgun your opponent down. Which is something Fox needs to start doing now that 5/5 is getting antsy and coming into his side of the field. That would have been great to have out during that counter war.
Yeah.
So here's a Faithless Looting. He tapped to get the damage in before. So that's going to untap it. Now this trigger goes on the stack. So you can cast your instant or sorcery and then respond to that trigger going on the stack to untap the Alchemist by tapping it. So even if he hadn't tapped it before casting that looting, he could still do it. So it looks like he's got a Kiln Fiend in hand now. It's hard to see what he discarded. It looks like a mountain and something else.
With the glare, I only saw the mountain, but I don't know what the second one was.
Jake was working real hard before the tournament tonight to get rid of those glares, but it's tough sometimes. And every night he has to reset this thing.
Yeah, yeah.
They did a paint Jake.
Paint and play today.
It was a build and paint day today for Warhammer and all the other minis. So the rooms were all set up with people painting and playing mini figure games. So Jake came in and reassembled everything in between events, and we appreciate it. So now we're bringing to you live from Other Realms at Honolulu, Hawaii. We're bringing to you some Pauper. We're in the middle of round 2 of 3.
It's the third game of round 2.
Third game. So after this, we will know who's going to 2-0. And I believe Dason is cheering for Fox after Alex dispatched him last round.
It's only fair.
Right?
Yeah.
You always got to cheer for the other guy. So there's the Smurfberry, Deprive, trying to keep that Delver off the table. 1 is enough for you, Fox. Thermal Alchemist, tapping for 1 damage on Alex's end step. No. Okay, because he's flashing back the Faithful Saluting. Notably, all of Alex's blue mana is tapped out, so a Fox can safely cast his spells right now. I think I'm about to have to take a drink.
Was that a brainstorm?
I do believe it was. No, maybe not. You know what, Tom? I'm going to take a drink anyway.
Wow.
That's just how I roll.
Living on the edge.
Here's a swing for 5. He's got Counterspell and Daze in his hand. So
looks like Fox just took the 5.
yep. Didn't have any favorable blocks available to him there. The Angler presents a very fast clock. You can only let it through so many times, and then you just have to start chumping. So here's the Brainstorm. Thanks, Fox. That looks like a Ponder, Halimar Depths, and an Opt. That's the wrong art, Jake. That's the wrong art, Jake. That's the right art, Jake. I don't know if that's the right edition, though. But that's hard to tell from here. So, Delver's Secrets finally flipped into the Insectal Aberration. The card is built... I don't know if you remember the movie The Fly with Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
That's the flavor of the Delver's Secrets, it seems. So every time I see that card, I picture Brindlefly trying to eat his food at the table, and it's a little disturbing. If you have not seen the movie at home, I recommend the movie. If don't watch it while you're eating though. So we got a tapped Thermal Alchemist to deal 1 damage, followed by an Opt. What is Alex doing here? I'm guessing that is a bounce spell. No, that's... Oh! Mirror Image, maybe? Target creature's power and toughness. You flip their power and toughness. So that 0/3 becomes a 3/0 and dies to having no toughness. Or it might have been a Hydroblast. You know?
I couldn't make out what it was.
I'm assuming it's a Hydroblast. And there's a cancel for the Nivik Cyclops. So, Twisted Image is the card I'm thinking of. If you can pull that one up, Jake. Twisted Image is a very common way to get rid of 0 whatever creatures.
Yeah.
You see it played a lot, 1 mana, and you draw a card. So it's a solid sideboard card for against any sort of deck that's running 0 power creatures. Good way to get rid of them. It's also a key card in another Pauper deck that tries to win with a card called Tireless Tribe, which I wasn't sure if we'd see that one or not. But with that one, the Tireless Tribe is a 1/4 creature naturally, I believe.
Oh, you flip it in order to attack it.
To get more damage, yep. So in a race between a 3-2 and a 5-5, who do you think wins this, Tom?
I'm gonna go with the 5-5.
I don't do trick questions often.
Yeah.
I try to keep them straight, and I'm pretty sure this race goes to Alex. Ooh, that's an errant ephemeron. It's got a suspend cost of 2, I believe, and it's a 5/5 flyer. So Fox 4/4 flyer. Sorry about that. Fox opting to pay the full 7 mana to cast it on his turn. So there's 1 mana for the daze, and now he's 1 mana short for the second daze. Errant Ephemeron. I did not expect to see that one. That's a pretty spicy card there. Very nice if you can suspend it on turn 2. Pretty pricey otherwise, though. There's a Diabolic Edict to get rid of the Insectal Aberration.
He's got very little. Well, he could bounce the Angler.
He does have bounce spells. Yeah. Alex has a very well stocked graveyard.
And he lightning bolted himself again.
Showing his last card to go out like a samurai.
Yeah.
So